And I think for me it makes a big difference where you walk in somewhere or you're buying a product or service that you know was created with you in mind. And so I think just being able to support the community and experience that yourself makes a really big difference. I'm Julius and I'm Black Owned London. I'm Julius Ibrahim and I'm the founder and managing director of Second Shot Coffee. So with Second Shot, we're a specialty coffee social enterprise, so we provide training and employment for people affected by homelessness, as well as distributing coffees, meals, face masks and hot water bottles to our local community. And I think what makes us special is that you have that very natural interaction between people experiencing homelessness and our kind of regular paying customers. And when you're a customer coming in, you don't know whether the person behind the counter is somebody who's been in the industry for 10 years or somebody who's just kind of restarting their journey. And I think that can be really, really powerful to show what homelessness really is. And you just see people interacting within the four walls of Second Shot that you don't really see elsewhere. Yeah, so my favourite thing about running Second Shot is just seeing people's personal growth. Yeah, I love it when someone starts off and they're super fresh and they're not sure of themselves whether they're doing the right thing in the right order. They're having to focus intently just on one thing at a time and not being able to communicate fully with customers and get to know people. And kind of over the weeks when they're with us, you really see their personalities fully coming out and that confidence and just that personal growth. And I think just seeing that journey is definitely my favourite part of the job. There's always that thing where you can only be what you can see, and so especially within our industry where it's not that diverse, you don't see many examples of black-owned coffee shops or restaurants and whatnot. And so yeah, for me it's super important to kind of try and be that flag bearer and be as visible as possible, and just showing anyone coming up that yeah, we can do this and also do it really well. I think for me it makes me proud to be a black entrepreneur because over the past kind of 6 years, like any business, you have your ups and downs and challenges, but I think especially kind of launching when I was kind of 20 years old, there was just a lot of learning and a lot of challenges to kind of overcome. So definitely I would recommend Enactus #1 if you're at university. But beyond that, there's Impact Hub, there's School for Social Entrepreneurs, there's Unlimited, there's Homeless Link. And I've been fortunate to be on a couple of really great programs where you have some learning, you have some peer networks and experiences, and I found that super useful for me. And I think, yeah, there's definitely a thing within social enterprises where we should be talking to each other more and learning from our experiences. And what I found as well, especially kind of launching as a young entrepreneur, where just speaking to different people really kind of validates your own thoughts and your own experiences. And that's been a huge help for me. Yeah, so what inspired Second Shot is my experience being part of this amazing organisation at university called Enactus. And what Enactus does is it brings together students, academics and business mentors to create social enterprises and social impact projects. And so I was doing that for 2 years and just loved every minute of it, and I kind of realised quite quickly that this is what I want to spend the bulk of my career doing. And I just found it amazing that even as a 19, 20-year-old you can be having a real impact, a real life impact on people's lives. And so that's where it kind of started for me, where I was coming from, okay, I know I wanted to have an impact within homelessness in London. And what I would always kind of advise is whatever the solution is, you personally need to be able to execute it. And I've always had a love of hospitality. I worked in kitchens, well, since I was like 14, 15. So yeah, I just really love this as an industry. And so I knew I wanted to have an impact within homelessness, and having a coffee shop was like the perfect vehicle for that. I think probably two main pieces of advice that I would say is, one, back yourself, believe in yourself. I think my internal process, my internal logic was, well, other coffee shops exist and so they make it work. I surely can make this work somehow. And you know, it's tough, but eventually kind of we got there. And then the second point, yeah, is just to be as vocal as possible and don't be afraid to reach out and ask for advice and guidance, because yeah, my mindset again starting off was very much, I'm going to do this, I'm going to figure everything out by myself. But if I had that kind of mindset of collaboration earlier, I think we would have, our initial journey would have accelerated faster, because I think experience can't be underrated as well. And the more you speak to people, the more you learn, you know, the better you're going to be as an entrepreneur. It's important for me, and what I found amazing is that over the past couple of years it's become easier and easier to find black-owned businesses, and I think it's super important. And what I try and do, especially in Second Shot, is make sure that our environments and our atmospheres are as inclusive as possible. And I think for me it makes a big difference where you walk in somewhere or you're buying a product or service that you know was created with you in mind. And so I think just being able to support the community and experience that yourself makes a really big difference. I'm Julius, and I'm Black Owned London.